Yo, yo! Welcome back to Papa's Archives, where I tell stories I want to tell my kids, but maybe not at the dinner table. But actually, that's not entirely true today, because today's topic is about love, and I actually said this to my kids last night, to you last night. Before I get too into it, though, I have to apologize. It's still early morning, and my voice is kind of rough, because this morning my voice doesn't work until later. And I'm still drinking my coffee, and it's raining. And I think it's going to get warmer, so it's not going to turn to snow until later. But it's kind of gray out too. But today's topic is love. And I said this to you kids last night because I think it's super important for you to hear me say it before you fall in love. And that's, I have one rule with love, and that rule is you do not judge other people's love. Okay? I ask you that of you, and in return I ask you to accept everybody else's love. I said to you last night, it's important for me to say this to you before you fall in love, because I want you to have freedom to fall in love with anybody you want. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. I don't care if they're black, white, Asian, Latino. I don't care about their race. I don't care about anything as long as they're a good person. But I need you to have that freedom before you have feelings for somebody. Because when you have feelings for somebody, I don't want you thinking, is my dad okay with this? Because a lot of people in this world have to think that way. They have to think of their parents' limits on who they could love, and I just think that's absolutely tragic. I've known people who have run away from their families. I've known that they were my friends. I guess they still are, but I haven't seen them for a while. But I've met people who have left. I'm in Japan, and you know, people come to Japan for a lot of different reasons. For me, it was snow, and of all things. It was part of a 3-year plan. It's a bit heavier than that. I'll get into that a different day. But I have met people here that had said to me, when I asked them, why'd you come to Japan? And they're like, to get away. I had to get away from home. I wasn't accepted at home anymore. And I get emotional just thinking about that conversation, because it was so hard for them to say that to me. And yeah, I can't imagine having to hide the one I love from my family. So I needed to say that to you last night when I said it. Ellie was 13, Eli was 10, and Ricky was 7. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, Ellie was like, oh! She was like, oh no, Dad's talking about love. It was a little uncomfortable for her. And the boys were just like, huh? And Ricky was like, I don't even know what love is. What are you even talking about? And Eli was kind of like, I kind of get what you're saying. Okay, thanks. And Ellie was like, okay, thank you for saying it. And she was just kind of like, can we stop talking about this now? So sorry if it made you uncomfortable, but if you hear it now, and that's why I'm archiving it too, because I want it here forever. I want you to feel free to bring home whoever you want and say, hey Dad, this is somebody I met that I've been in love with for a while, and I want you to meet them. And I don't ever want you to have to hide that person from me. And your mom, I put your mom, I know how she feels. She's fine with this too. But yeah, there are people in this world, there are countries in this world where people can't choose who they love. Specifically, some Islamic states, like Iran. You know, gay sex is banned there. And in the U.S., it's becoming legalized. Is it legal in every state now? It's gotta be. But before that problem was interracial marriage. Like, my marriage with my Japanese wife was illegal not long ago. And, like, within one person's life ago. Not 1950s? I don't know what year it was even legalized. Because I live in the free world and I don't pay attention to when it wasn't free. that's what happens when you grew up in the free world. You just don't recall the dates in history books explaining to you when it wasn't free. Some dates you remember, maybe, but like, interracial marriage was not legal for a long time, and I can't imagine somebody telling me I can't love my wife. What? When I got married, I told my grandma that I was getting married to Akko, and her reply was, "Well, I guess that's what you get." And I just kind of let the conversation go, and I think that was because she remembers World War II. She remembered. She's passed away. She remembered World War II and Pearl Harbor. There has to be animosity between people that were at war with each other. Like, you have to, I guess, you would have to try to not have animosity towards that person. Maybe it would be easier for some people than others, and I don't know how that, I've never been at war. I mean, the U.S. has been at war with people, but... So, on that note, Akko and I, because she's Japanese, I'm American, and we're raised in a multi-race, but international family, we've discussed it many times. When you kids are old enough to process it, we want to do a world tour around specifically Hiroshima, Pearl Harbor, and parts of Europe to study World War II. And I mean, I suppose you could do that with every war in the world if you wanted to, but specifically because America and Japan were against each other in World War II. We're allies now, interestingly. So anyway, back to the love thing. I want you to feel free. And then from there comes the question of marriage. And will my parents allow me to accept me to marry this person? The answer is yes, as long as they're not abusive or, you know, whatever. But that's even assuming you want to get married, because I've known a lot of people who don't believe that, not a lot of people, but I've known some people, some friends who are still single and they choose to be because they don't believe in marriage, and that's fine. One friend specifically that I'm thinking of right now was dating a girl for several years, and then they got to the age where she wanted to get married and start a family, and he didn't believe in marriage, and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't marry you and start a family. If you want to start a family with somebody, you're free to go find another partner." And he let her go. They just split up, and then she did meet someone else and ended up getting married a few years later, and he was at their wedding, and they're still awesome friends. So that's an example of, you know, true love, like letting the person that you love go on and pursue something else if that's what they want to do. So there's no way to determine whether or not marriage is the appropriate thing to do. This was just going to be about love, but now it's about marriage. That's okay. But I covered it. It's really simple. The love thing's really simple. You don't judge other people's love, and you're free to love whoever you want. And end of conversation. I guess there's nothing else to elaborate on. So into marriage. Again, Akko and I, when I got married in Japan, we got married 3 times. That's the joke. Because once at the courthouse, once in Hawaii was the ceremony, and then we had another party here in Japan for relatives. Specifically Akko's relatives, because her mom had been saving up for her marriage for like 20 years. So she had this account for her wedding party, so it was kind of cute. And on that though, I should tell the engagement story. So when I was younger, I asked my mom I don't know how old I was, probably high school or something. I asked my mom how she would feel if I brought a black girl home. And she was like, I don't know, we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. And I was kind of asking the race question, and I think she was answering the human question. She was like, it depends on the person, dude, I don't care about their color. And later, when I brought Akko home, after we'd been dating for like a year, Akko and I went to the US to meet my parents, and like the next day, my mom was like, do you want my engagement ring? And we're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, I have my engagement ring. Do you want to give it to Akko? And I was kind of floored. I was like, I didn't know how to reply. I didn't know how to answer. But I ended up taking it. So my mom was just stoked on Akko. So happy that I found someone so amazing. And I kept that engagement ring hidden in my sock drawer. And we were living together in our apartment, our tiny shoebox apartment. And I was sure she was going to find it or something. And, or at least see it, or, yeah, I was sure she was going to find it. But when I decided that I wanted to get married, I went to her parents' house on New Year's Eve. Akko was at work. She was working at the bank at the time, I think. So she was at work until like 8 or something, 7 or 8. So I went to her parents' house. We were all going there for dinner, and I went early to ask her parents permission to ask their daughter to marry me. And it's fairly old school tradition. It's just, I just wanted to make sure we were all good. And I knew we were. I got along with her parents absolutely great. But it's just, I think it's just showing her parents the respect that I wanted to show them. I knew they're gonna say yes, but so anyway, this is the day I learned that marriage is not about you. I mean, it should be. I guess it is. But for me, it was about family, and I learned that day because first I asked their parents, and they said yes, and her mom got all excited. And I said, okay, well, in January, Akko and I are going to go down to Kyoto for just a weekend trip. And I plan on proposing down there in Kyoto. And I told her, like, where I was going to do it, and I just kind of outlined just, you know, my proposal strategy. Just to tell them, right? And, you know, an hour later or whatever, Akko comes home, and we're all sitting down to dinner, and Akko's mom is just like, she's just on fire. And Akko's like, dude, what's going on? Why are you so... And she's like, oh, Nathan has something to ask you. And I was like, Kyoto, I'm going to Kyoto to... Don't... Shut up. And she was like, no, Nathan, now. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, ask her right now. So she stole my engagement from me, my proposal from me. And I learned, like, that moment, I was like, oh, this is merging my family with hers, and I don't really get a say. And I was kind of annoyed at the time, but it was really cute. I also kind of, I kind of liked it because it showed me how much, she did accept my request and how much she did welcome me into the family, and it was quite special. So I asked Akko to marry me, and she said yes. It was kind of, you know, it was cute. But I was like, I don't have the ring here. The ring's at home in my sock drawer. Can I go get the ring? And I had already had a beer or two, so, you know, I couldn't drive. I was probably sober enough to drive, but that's a big no-no in Japan. And they're like, no, the ring's not important, Nathan. I was like, it's my mom's proposal ring, wedding ring, engagement ring. It's important. And they're like, no, it's not. That's not it, Nathan. So Akko had to wait for her engagement ring until we got home. But anyway, I love telling that story because it's cute. And we're lucky because both of us, Akko and I, both have parents that are, you know, they love us, and that they're accepting of anything. And I started this video to say that to you kids, that before you fall in love, it's important for you to know that you have the freedom to fall in love with whoever you want, assuming they're good people. There's one little caveat. One little caveat I have is assuming they're a good person and not, you know, abusive, basically. But, yeah. Sorry, that was fun. I like to tell that story. Our engagement story. And, that's it. I guess we're done. Love you guys. Have a good day.